Hello, Advait.
Hello,
Namaste.
Antonela. Namaste. Happy to see you.
Very pleased to be here with you today.
Yes,
And
yes. Same here. So, welcome to the new episode of Awakening Success Stories, Awakening interview series. Today, we invite Antonella right from Romania, and um it will be a very great interview, I'm sure. I initially had met Antonella in the moon, full moon day sound therapy session, which was happening in 2018, I think so.
right, yes.
Yes, correct. And I met Antonella during the naval activation workshop, in which I saw a great transformation in her, a great shift in her health, the way she contributed in her emotions, at the same time, the way she's growing spiritually now. And it's a great shift of energies which I can sense in her. I can sense in her presence. So let us dive straight into the awakening interview session with Antonella. Jai Gurudev, Namaste.
Jai Gurudev. Namaste.
Yes. So can you please share something about you? What are your likes, dislikes? What are your passions, and how did you land up with BodhMarga Foundation?
By profession, I am a teacher of languages and literature, but for the past years, I lost interest in it because spirituality has become very powerful. Um, my initial search for spirituality began in high school, but then I couldn't find many answers. So the search came back about 7 years ago when I began to try different things, some a bit successful, some not so much. And then about 2 years and 8 months back, I was in Mumbai. I had been there for about 10 days, not more, when a member of the family where I was living in the newspaper coming a workshop on DNA activation, I think. And I called, and Rivesh G answered. There was, for me, was a very strong connection from the beginning. And the following day, I began the DNA activation workshop, and then for almost 3 months, I followed him everywhere he was, and it was absolutely amazing. And I want to mention to show how strong the connection was. At the time, my understanding of Hindi was very little, and yet at the workshops, there was something like a translator in my head that would tell me. And at times, I had doubts that I had not understood properly, so I would ask in English to repeat in English, and it was exactly what I had understood. So it's kind of when the vibrations meet are at the same level at the time when I was connected to him. Uh, you don't need to know anything; you just understand. It's wonderful. That's how I explain it. In the end, even the explanation is not important. Yeah. So passions and hobbies. I've had many interests in my life. Um, I've kept painting. For the moment, I think it's just painting, not. I used to like music very much, but apart from kirtan, I can't listen to any type of music now, even though I was listening to classical music, which is not noisy music, but even that for the moment I can't hear. So,
It's very great to listen that you being into that part of world when you initially visited India, you started with the entire spiritual process with Riveshi. you had a challenge, not a challenge, but direct listening to Hindi language was a difficulty for you, but yet you clearly understood the gist of the workshops, if I can say so.
Yes.
The language was not a barrier then.
No.
Yes, as you said, the connection was so strong, the frequency and the vibration were so uh, in in tune, I can say so, in tune. It were
Yeah, that's the
resonating at
word.
the perfect frequency. And the one word that you mentioned was the receive, the receiver, being a receiver, I think so.
Yes. I've been
Yeah,
since then a great receiver, which is the way actually.
correct, correct. So, from the moment you joined the workshops, the moment you started receiving the vibrations, and the process of the entire spirituality started to kick in. What are the major breakthroughs that you have seen in your life while you were in India and now when you are back at your home? So, what are the major breakthroughs that you have been observing since the time you joined the workshop till now? So, what are the results, the major breakthroughs that you are experiencing?
They have come gradually, of course, and I remember at the first DNA activation how my body felt very, very heavy. And with each DNA activation and naval awakening, because I repeated them, um, I felt how the dense energies in the body were leaving the body every time. It was the body became lighter, the feeling was lighter, and the way I perceive life, I live it. It has changed. How should I say? For example, I used to analyze a lot things, and sometimes I was right, sometimes not. It's this pattern. If someone said something, it means that, it means this line. So the mind works and works and works and makes scripts and yeah, and it's very tiresome. That's gone. It didn't disappear immediately. Uh, the the biggest step, if you want, it was after Sri Padmini Vidya. That's when the shift really happened. And I've never had fears, so I can't say, except for the flying. That's why I flew a lot in my life. I traveled a lot. But the attitude, um, I'm more and more easygoing. Um, I look at people differently. I used before, I never liked to judge, but still I did it because it's normal, it comes. And I'm more calm, I'm more peaceful, regardless of what's around me. This COVID, for example, has not scared me a lot. It doesn't exist for me. Okay, I had to wear a mask and I cannot travel, but it's there. I'm not scared. It has to be there for many reasons, I assume. Um, I used to, spiritually, I'm still here. Um, Emotionally, I'm more stable because I'm very sensitive and things affect me easily. Um, I don't react anymore. I'm not hurt, moved. I still care for many things, for everything actually, but it doesn't affect me directly anymore. It's not mine. It doesn't happen to me if you want. uh, can we go that way with me and Antonella, or we'll keep it aside? That no identification with the body.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yes,
talk
yes, please.
about this.
Yeah, yeah, please.
That so it has become very, very easy. Actually, now it's difficult to talk to say I'm going there or I'm doing that, because I know I'm not doing it. So it's a kind of conflict. I have to stabilize it. Um, I know I'm not this body. It's very obvious, and it's so easy, and it feels normal. This feels like normality, not what I was living before. Um, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, the more sense of calmness that I can sense now, and then the
The more,
greater the calmness which has
uh, yes,
the calmness and the peace, and then the greater acceptance that you are now sharing that this feels normal, because majority around the world, people do not feel belonged, people do not feel normal in this life. And
yeah,
when we go through this spiritual process, the belonging, it happens at a very greater stage, because it happened with me as well. The certain sense of belonging, it happened with our own self, with the center within. And then the shift that you shared, the experience after the Padmini Vidya, that I'm not the body and I'm not the mind. It's very rare which happens during the entire awakening path, and it should happen those who are on this spiritual path. And it's I'm very happy that you are sharing this, because just after the Padmini Vidya and going through the process, and then coming at that level of wisdom, it's very rare. So very happy to listen your sharing. And now when I'm listening to you, I'm also opening up with new dimensions in terms of the emotional stability that you are sensing right now. So can you elaborate on the same part where the wisdom that is now coming in your life when you're at the stage of non-doing? That is what we say in the BodhMarga. No kriya, no action, no effort. Everything comes with a flow. Everything comes effortlessly. So can you elaborate on the experiences from the Shri Padmini Vidya and the entire, maybe the webinar experiences? Because of course the physical experience was not, uh, we can say, not happening. But when we started with the webinars, so how was the transition for you as well? Because tuning in right from the Romania in different time zones. So how was it for you, and can you elaborate on the Shri Padmini Vidya as well?
with Sri Padmini Vidya, I think it to start when it was here 2:30 in the morning. So sometimes I wouldn't manage to sleep at all before. Uh, but I was doing fine. I was not tired at all. I was very happy to be present, to be awake, to join in. And I remember every morning towards the end, I would have a kind of epiphany, if you want, about an area of my life that had been bothering me with questions and confusion and so on. And this time it was a different time or a type of connection with Riveji, because the translator in my head, let's say, was not translating into words. It was vibrational, if you want. I wouldn't hear words. It was just vibrations and frequencies. I would just feel and be filled, if you want. I can't explain it actually. I've never thought of this. Um, and the program is absolutely amazing. I do recommend it to anyone, but I think there is need for some preparation before, because otherwise it's not easy and the effect will not be the one expected. But with DNA activation and naval awakening, um, everything is possible. And then back in Mumbai, I took a sound therapy course. We took it together actually.
Yes.
And since then, I've been working. last year I had a break of some month when I didn't touch the bowls, the singing bowls, but they are amazing. For example, 2 days ago, I felt like a bad cold would come up in me, and it's not a nice feeling. And after almost 1 hour of sound therapy, it was gone, gone. So it was great. And um, the singing bowls have helped me a lot emotionally when I wanted to say something, but it was not clear to someone, let's say. Um, I would use a certain bowl, and for anything, I you can mention anything, any situation, and you do this sound therapy, and it worked. It worked on me, and I've tried it on friends and acquaintances, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's so easy. What happens? You don't need to do anything. It happens. Not to mention the feeling, the lightness, the calmness, the it's. I could do this the whole day and whole night. Really, it's really unique.
Yes, very true.
Uh,
Yes, yes, we did went through the sound therapy together. And uh, which singing bowls do you have? I think you have the entire set with you.
I have the set, then I have the one for the navel and Venus
Venus
and
bowl.
the gong. And
Okay.
I'm still crying. I didn't take the Jupiter, but I thought, how would I carry that one? Because I didn't want to send them with the luggage in case something would have got lost. So I carried them, most of them, on my hand luggage. They were very heavy. And yeah, but I'm still crying. And now I hear you have new ones, so it's painful not to have them. But in
They,
time.
yes, yes, they will come. They will come for sure. Yeah. So can you share something about your experiences with the sound therapy? Because uh, the environment shifts are there, because in India, the results on the people are different, and the results at your areas, basically in the European zones or in the Romanian region. So what are the main type of issues that people come with for the sound therapy sessions, or till now? Which type of illnesses have you worked with your with the sound therapy, and your personal experiences with?
Um, Common ones are stress, fear, anxiety, bad digestion, pain, whatever. But apart from me, where I will talk later, there is someone with lupus, and after doing it daily, almost, the results came out better. But then he stopped, so I don't know what's going on now. But um, and that went for less than 2 months, I think, and the results were better, not drastically, but there was a change. So that's the most what's the word, obvious effect of sound therapy on someone, because this was stress relaxing. Normally they come easily. I had some women who were so nervous and agitated, and the head was going on and on. They couldn't lie down, they had to go. It was impossible.
Okay, correct.
I assume the vibrations were so contradictory that made them mad, I think. And then with me, I've had the problem with one of my legs for years, and it went on developing. I went to all kind of doctors, but they didn't know what to tell me. There was either nothing, or I should try something according to their specialty. So I'm not a doctor type. I've been like this since I was very, very young, when I had no clue what a doctor was, what medicine was. So, but I tried. I wanted to name. But with this sound therapy, slowly, slowly, I've been solving my problem. It's not yet perfect, but it's much better. Just with sound therapy. I still have no name, but who cares? I feel better. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to ask some more. I,
Yeah, that's completely great. The way you shared about the stress, and then the entire spectrum where you shared the each and every life areas that you mentioned, the problems are getting much more easier, if I can say so.
I wouldn't call them problems because I've never been a negative type. I I enjoyed many things, so I would panic, but for short times.
So yes, so I would like to ask that you attending all the programs. I think you have attended all the programs with us, right from the sound therapy, the DNA, the naval awakening, then the advanced shibirs that we do online with the Gita, with the Haripat and the Pasayadana, and now the Sri Padmini Vidya. So even though our lectures are well balanced in English and Hindi as well, but sometimes with the flow, Vibhushri speaks in Hindi more, and you being into the uh, into the entire spectrum of English language, did you ever feel that there was a barrier, or there was the moments in the workshop, oh no, I'm not understanding this? So if that happened, what did you do, and did language was ever a barrier to you for attending the workshops?
I didn't think of it as a barrier. There were times when I thought, ah, I would have liked to understand it better, to hear every word in a language that I understand. But either at times I had the translator, as I was saying earlier, or vibrationally, I understood everything I needed. And yes, I know some words in Hindi, and by words I mean some hundreds, not 10. Um, but then the area is different. I knew Hindi from what I knew was from movies, yeah, but that's a different area. Uh, but it didn't bother me because what I felt inside and the transformation I felt after each meeting in Mumbai or webinar, the language didn't matter. It's the transformation happened. So, and it happens no matter what you think you understand or not. And if you are just open and just receive, just listen without thinking that, oh, I don't understand, oh, what is he saying? No, just listen to the words even. I learned many words like that. um, there is no language barrier. Spirituality has no language. Can I say that?
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
And so the short answer would be no, there is no language barrier in this. It's just trust and receive, 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 receive.
Correct, very true. It's the receiving mode, and of course, music, as we know, it doesn't have any language. It works on the vibrations. The sound works on the vibrations. And I think more than the receiving, it's the presence as well. So the presence, and
Yes.
then being vulnerable to work on the self in spite of not knowing the language. That's very inspirational. Basically, it's very um, a very keynote for all to note it down that Antonella not being able to completely understand the Hindi language, and yet she participating for her spiritual growth. That is one of the very bold and courageous steps from her side as well, because that shows her commitment to grow spiritually, if I say so. And further moving, as you have completed almost all the Shibirs with us, what are the top takeaways and the top values that you use in your day-to-day life?
Um, More relaxation because I have faith in the gurus, and with every day it feels more and more easy to practice this faith because it's a practice until it becomes a natural part. Um, hmm, I don't know. A faith. By trust, I meant faith. Yes, faith in everything, that everything is possible. Uh, Surrender, to surrender to the situation, to stay away from analyzing, interpreting, uh, thinking. Just accept yourself and others, but accept what happens to you. Um, it's part of this life and we need them. And at some point we will understand why we need them. Yeah. So I don't know what.
Yes, so the faith, the surrenderance, being open to trust, to have the nishtha again, to have the faith on the Guru, to have
Yes,
the faith on the Guru Tattva, and then the acceptance that anything which is happening, it's a part and parcel, and which allows us to be in a flow, if I said it correctly.
very well. Thank you for helping me. Yes, you
Y-
expressed it much better.
Yes, yes. And apart from that, what are the top tools or techniques that you practice immediately, like the sadhana from the all the teachings that we have been learning? So what is the top tool that you immediately access? Sadhana.
um, I keep saying a lot, Jai Gurudev, mantras that I received from Riveshji. Uh, there was one line in a kirtan that obsessed me, if you want. I could hear it again and again, and I learned later that it was a mantra, Digambaram. And practicing Vitala, well, if it's practicing, is I don't know. It's just saying it actually. And I'm observing myself, especially, and others. And when I observe others, I try to see them, to look at them the way I look at myself. I mean, spirits in bodies. I had done this before, but now it's a different perspective and it's much easier. And it's so much easier to love the other one when when you live like this, and just love whoever, no matter what they do and say. You are not uh, hurt or attacked, or I don't know, whatever feelings may come out. It's a wonderful way of living.
That is
Uh,
very different to listen, because this is the first time that you are sharing the love part, and I would like to go deeper on that aspect. So can you please share about the love that you are mentioning right now, because we are in the process of creating the Mauli within, creating the love within. And right now, you shared that the love, and it was such a touching moment for me personally at this moment. So, can you please share the experience with the love which is happening to you, the love with the self, and the experiences of that love which is getting uh, communicated with others in your presence? So, can you please speak on that?
I've tried, maybe without being aware, this exercise of loving and the other, and knowing that there is divinity in each one of us. But in the past month, let's say, I haven't counted them, let's say 3-4 months, it has taken a, it has reached a different level, and it's what I touched a bit earlier. Not judging, not feeling hurt or insulted or whatever experiences people have when they don't like what they hear, and think that or feel, live their sorry people do what they do because they have patterns, let's say, and they don't are not aware of them. Some of us are becoming aware, uh, but see that they are innocent, yes, and in a way you can say they are not aware what they are doing. uh, so if you see the innocence in them, no matter what they do to you or to others, what they say, you can only love them. And when you feel their pain, you can love them even more. At least this is my experience. And you begin to love their faults, their wounds, their mistakes. It's a very warm type of love. I don't know how to. It's a very unique way of loving, especially if that person in front of you is a stranger, let's say, yeah, someone that talks ugly to you in the street, and instead of reacting or yelling back or whatever, you just feel this type of love for his or her wounds, pain, and because all this madness comes from pain and from wounds, not from the real self, I think. I'm getting very emotional now. Huh. Do you
Yeah,
have an explanation for that? Why I'm getting so emotional when I talk about this?
yeah, so surely, because right now we are completely into that frequency of the love. Because when we are into the love, the acceptance and the innocence, it automatically comes. And this is the stage of the Mauli. So being unconditionally comfortable with the self, being unconditionally loving with self and the others. So yeah,
Um, it was easier to love others than myself, if I have to be honest. And I want to be honest. I don't have to, I want to. And but it has come gradually with myself too, because there were things I couldn't forgive myself, and I've managed, and it feels good.
so what was the process when you shared about the love and the forgiveness? So, of course, because many people are not comfortable in their own shoes around the life, around the entire spectrum of the life, people generally do not accept the self. They do not accept their own body. They do not accept their own emotional and the mental baggage that they are carrying. So, can you elaborate on this experience of you having the courage to love the self, to work on the self love, and how the process of BodhMarga made it very comfortable for you, and the part where the forgiveness with the self it started to happen?
mm, I haven't thought of this so in such an organized manner. Um, I think it was along the lines, if you can love the other and forgive, why can't you forgive yourself? Why and with this cleansing, with the DNA activation and navel awakening, I became very aware of many things inside, and I understood, I think, that whatever I thought I had done wrongly at the time, it was what I had thought at the time it had to be done, or that's how I felt back then. And of course, 10 years later or 100 years later, we would all do things differently. But when you are in that moment, you do what you think and accept it. If 5 years later you think it was wrong, it was not wrong for then. So understanding oneself and being realizing the divinity inside within, I think makes the process begin. And then I think the path might be different for everyone. I really don't know what to say on this. I've
You
never
said
put
it.
things
You
together,
said it perfectly.
so it's difficult, or I feel it's difficult.
You said it perfectly. It was such a profound. Of course, it's a complex way to share, but you said it perfectly. The way we do things differently in the past, at that point we feel that it's the only correct way. But later down the 10 years or 100 years or 5 years, we may think that, oh no, this was not the only way, but now the time has passed. But now we can only work on forgiving the self, working on the guilt, working on the baggage that we carry. So you said it beautifully. I think no one can share this in a very crisp way and in a very subtle way. You shared it beautifully. Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. So
Okay.
can you share something about the observing and the awareness part? Because when you initially started with the process where the detachment with the body and the mind is happening to you, so can you share about on those lines with the awareness and observing state, the non-doing state?
Um, yeah, this is the thing that I do most of the time, and it seems the most difficult to explain, to talk about. um, Imagine someone who is somewhere at the corner of the street or on a bench in the park and is just watching what happens, who passes in nature without thinking, why is this person walking like that? Why is she walking to dogs? No, just observing and feeling, perhaps, uh, with an empty head. And maybe the human part comes out strongly in certain point, and you do something, and then you think, why did you do it? Not think. It's not a thinking as I used to know it, but I don't have a name for it. It's different. Do you have a name for it?
And there is no name for it. It's just the experience. It's just the experience that you are sharing. That there is no judgment happening. There is no process of human involvement, and it's just the state of watching.
No,
It's
what
the
I mean,
watching.
because a question comes, why you said that, because what's, no, it's not so complex. Oh, as I was saying, it's the easiest thing to do and the most complicated thing to explain. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, you
I
said it
just
correctly
observe.
once again. It's the complex way. It's at the same time now it feels very easy to do because the watching part that you explained, uh, people in the path of spiritual awakening, they take it, they need so many years of sadhana and tapasya to come at this point. So I think with the Shri Padmini Vidya, how when did this happen gradually and at a very faster pace for you after the Shri Padmini Vidya or after the naval?
I'd done it before, but I don't know for how long. But after Padmini Vidya, things accelerated, and the the pace was faster and the things happened deeper. And this was 3, 4, 5 months ago, more or less, I think.
Correct. Yes, yes. Very true. Okay. So now moving forward to the next part. So mm, I have seen you attending the satsangs that we do and the
Mhm.
kirtans that we do, the chants that we are doing, the Siddha chants and the Siddha mantras. So which is the favorite part for you in the kirtans, the experience with the kirtan? Did you enjoy them? Do you enjoy them?
I absolutely enjoy them, and I listen to them again and again. And there are some that for hours they can go on and on. They don't leave me. Um, I like how the body feels. It's it gets a certain feeling. It's from a different world. It's not from here. And then it happened that I lost the notion of time, which is wonderful. Um, I don't like the word trance. I don't know what word to use. I go in a state of non-duality, if you want. I I go there. There is no body. I'm aware of it, but it's something else. Uh, the vibrations, the frequencies, I feel they change within me. I'm purified. Uh, it's a wonderful feeling. And by the way, you should play kirtan more often because I like your voice. You have a good voice.
It's all the
and
Guru Krupa.
and it's that divinity that it becomes more profound, more you feel it double. It's very active. I don't know. There are so many things. It's like a different type of meditation. The most wonderful meditation. Um, you can you can get to. I've lost it. There was a thought there, and I
No,
lost it.
no problem. I think it's a profound experience of the bhakti. I think so, if you want to
Yes.
share. And the oneness which comes with the experience and the divinity. Because when we sing the Siddha Kirtans, even when we are doing it, we are no more in that act itself.
Yeah.
Because it's all the revelations, it's all the flow of the Guru's grace when we are doing it. So when I'm saying we are doing it, we are not there in that process. It's the body which is happening, and it's just in the process of happening which the entire kirtan flows. So of course it's a very profound and yet a complex experience to share. But what you shared in a way that you are not in this dimension, the entire
Yeah.
body
That's
is
one.
not the body that we generally feel, and then the divinity is very active.
Yeah, the body melts into the surrounding space if you want. There is no body, and yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes. So anything apart from that you would like to mention that we might have missed, in this entire journey, since the way you have associated with Riveshji, with the BodhMarga and Wellness Vibe, what are the most memorable part, if you wish to share, maybe the interaction with him or any calls or the webinar experiences which are happening, any part which it is where that is the gist of it.
I don't think life in terms of memorable moments or not, let's say powerful or yeah, Any interaction with Riveshji is memorable, has worked in me, even if it was hi, how are you, and something was happening inside. Uh, I had we had conversations that for me were enlightening, enlighten me if you want. I had epiphanies, answers to questions that I had carried with me for years and years, and maybe the talk was about something else, but I got an answer that I needed badly. Uh, Even no words, this energy I feel when I just talk to him, I don't need to be near him. Just thinking uh, or seeing him, and I don't see him. I was told that I don't see him. I see, uh, what do I see? A guru with his appearance. Um, Meeting you was, what's the word you used? Uh,
Gurudev,
Memorable.
memorable.
Meeting you. I remember you very well in Mumbai. I see you transformed as well. Um, if you want anything that brings you joy is memorable, and some things uh, affect you more, transform you more than others, but I think it's human to say this is bigger than the other, and um, the fact that I met Triveshji, the way I met him, there was no coincidence, nothing there. And the connection from the first second I heard his voice on the phone, if you want, that's memorable for me.
Yes,
And
the
then
initial
all
contact.
this, all this process of transformation is. I'm very grateful for for this for this life, for what's happening. I'm very grateful for this time spent with you here today. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's the deep sense of calmness that personally we are resonating at this moment. And of course, I'm grateful to you as well because the time that you are spending, the sadhana that you are doing, the amount of tools and techniques which are you are applying for the BodhMarga, and the way you are also able to contribute your presence through the sound, through the way you are contributing the sound therapy at your area, that is very highly inspirational. And any words that you wish to say to all the listeners and the watchers that they will be going through the video?
Mm, dear souls, uh, be brave and dare and take this path. It it won't be always easy. For some, it's easier than for others, but the rewards and the experiences will enrich you and will bring a happiness that and joy and peace in your life that I'm sure you are looking for it, but the wrong ways, let's say, or wrong ways that don't help. So yes, I recommend everyone to do DNA activation, navel awakening, and repeat them because there are always results, but they go deeper and deeper. It depends from person to person. And Shri Padmini Vidya is the climax for me. And sound therapy is something to live with and live for if you want. Uh, yeah, I recommend follow Riveshji and you can only win. I don't know what to say. I had not thought of this. uh, And once again, I thank Riveshji for his work and devotion and love and everything he's doing for so many people. And I thank you as well, Advet. And I feel joy, calmness, and a blank brain or head. Nothing comes.
Completely. And I think that is what our entire purpose should be, to the way we have come as a blank slate, we should go as a blank slate as well. And the way you have expressed the gratitude, the thankfulness to the entire BodhMarga, to Riveshi, it is full of love, it is full of joy, and it is full of happiness. And at the same time, it is full of the unconditional love as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so this was very a great conversation which happened. It was very spontaneous. At the same time, it was full of, you know, the great moments which happened within us. And I'm sure there are so many moments which are there to capture as well in the entire process. And of course, the time is limited, and this will be the end of episode for today's spiritual awakening session with none other than Antonella. So thank you very much for tuning in. I thank all the people
thank you,
who will
Advet.
be watching.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I wish them courage to follow the path. Thank you, Advet.
yes, yes.
Jai
Thank you very
Gurudev.
much. Jai
Jai
Gurudev, and of
Gurudev.
course, gratitude to all the masters, to all the gurus, known and unknown, for
Yes,
their blessings and for showing us the light and the path to grow towards our own soul, to grow towards our own spiritual awakening, and to continuously shower the blessings so that we can thrive in our life. So gratitude to all the masters and gurus, to all the Siddha Parampara, Nath Parampara, and Sant Shiromani Dhaneshwar Maharaj to always show us the path.
Jai
Jai
Gurudev.
Gurudev,
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.